Well, hi everyone. It is John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here, coming at you today in the afternoon on March 18th. It's a wonderful Friday, a little over 60 some degrees here in Bergen County. Just a beautiful day. Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to any of my channels, particularly this stream, which is Inspirations for Your Life, you're going to notice there's a QR code at the top right. Take your phone, scan the QR code, and you know what that's going to do? That's going to lead you off to my link tree. If you have any issues trying to get to my link tree, just go to linktr.ee/JOHNC serial SERIALENTREPRENEUR. That'll direct you to my link tree with all kinds of great stuff. So it's great to be here. Again, if you're new, every single week we have a new series with a topic, and every day we have a specific subtopic to get more specific. And of course, if you have been coming to my show for a while, welcome back. It's great to have my loyal subscribers. Hopefully, my new people today will become loyal as well. You might have noticed on my head something new today. Believe and achieve. So this is a hat that I wear pretty much every day. Why do I wear it? Well, a couple of reasons. One, believe and achieve is what we need to do to get to our goals. So you have to believe, right? You might have heard Macy's and other people say, the magic of believing. We've heard this from Disney, right? And so achieve. You can't achieve unless you believe. I have a QR code there, which is the same QR code that's on the screen. And we just started printing hats literally today. So this is really exciting. We can make a hat just for you guys. Well, listen, when we think about time, right? That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about time. How and why is time important? We talked about so many different places it's important, but where also time is very critical? Time is critical in the medical field. Did you know that? Time is critical in the medical field because if you don't respond within so many minutes or so many seconds, could be the difference of someone living or dying. Where else is time very critical? Where is time very critical? If you had to tell me, where is time very critical? Well, we talked about the Olympics, right, and things like that. But where else is time important? Well, obviously in the medical field, right? Being critical means that it affects something, such as a relationship, a life, okay, a big outcome. Where else is time really important? We talked about time being important with cooking. If you're doing any type of, let's say, painting, or you hire people, there's a certain amount of time for it to dry or cure, right? Before you put the next coat on, if you're putting a primer on. Time is also important when we travel. So we talked about the fact that time keeps everything in alignment, if you will, a balance. So if we are here in this time zone, which is Eastern, it's currently a certain time, which is a little bit after 3. If we're to go 3 hours behind this, right, to 1:12, that would mean that, yes, we are in a different time zone, right? And so that'll be the Western time zone. And so people say to me, John, well, how many time zones are there? How many time zones do we have? Let's think about that for a second. How many time zones are there? Well, there are actually 24 time zones. Did you know that? Yeah, there are 24 time zones. But we don't talk about them all the time, okay? We don't talk about them all the time. And so when we think about time zones, the world is divided into 24 time zones. The course of one day is broken down into seconds, and then calculated to define the correct time of a particular place. All right. Countries with the most number of time zones in the world: Los Angeles, New York, Zulu, New Delhi, Beijing, and Sydney, Australia. So when we think about time, we have to anticipate how long it's going to take us to get from point A to point B. Even a jet pilot, right? Or a train needs to know how much time it's going to take to get from point A to point B. That's where we get into things like schedules. But schedules don't become possible until we start understanding what time is and how time matters to us. For example, if you go to the airport and you try to get there like 10 minutes before your flight, there's a good shot you're probably not going to get on that plane. I remember this lady a few years ago, actually before COVID, and I was waiting for another plane because I'm always an hour and a half or more early so that I can not have to rush and be able to get on my plane in peace and tranquility and have no issues. Well, I'm sitting there and my flight's not due to start boarding for another half hour. So they just had last call. They close the doors and these two ladies rush. And she's like, oh, I got to get on that plane. I said, I think that plane's boarding is closed. Oh, no. And they go up there and they start begging and pleading. And magically, they open the doors and let them on the plane. You're probably saying, well, gee, why would they do that? Well, the reason is because the pilot and the crew had some, let's say, some issues with some of their checks before they could take off. And because a couple of them had not fully finished passing, they were able to let the person, I think there was an issue with one of the indicator lights. They fixed it. Everything was fine. But, time is something that's important because if you don't respect time, and that really means you don't respect others. I had a gentleman today who's supposed to come for an interview. He was supposed to be at a certain time. He didn't show up. He didn't call. That's disrespectful. And so when somebody doesn't value time, especially when I'm part of that time continuum, I just say next. That person does not get another shot with me. Why? Because if your life is that busy that you can't be on time, and I've talked about this before, if you're on time, you're late. So you actually need to be early. So if your appointment with me, let's say, is at 1 o'clock, you should plan to be here at least 1:45 or 10 to 1. But I think what happens is some people realize that when they're about to go in for an interview or meet someone, it kicks in that it's real. And now they understand that they got to work. And this is hard for a lot of Americans. Now, when we think about time, there is time in so many different places, right? There is time in your life to take out to be what? Concerned. There is time in your life to relax. There's time in your life to be patient. There's time in your life to be caring. Shouldn't be time in your life to be annoyed, but there might be time in your life that you're frustrated. So you need to move from that point to another point. How do you handle time when it feels like it's standing still? Well, that usually means that you're not making any progress. So you feel time is standing still. Other times people tell me time is going too fast. So how do you have that balance? I think you need to enjoy every moment of time. That's number one. As I say on my hat, I'm going to be saying this all the time, believe and achieve. Claude Bristol Myers said this best: we need to believe before we can achieve. And so achieving is something people want, but it doesn't happen right away. I'm going to go grab a glass of water here. It's just water, despite what the outside of the cup says. I think it comes down to an interesting point of whether a person wants to commit. When they want to commit, they'll usually be on time or early. Somebody that doesn't show up realizes that maybe they don't have the skills and that they con job you into believing that they did. So the way they feel it's best is to just not show up. But that's very unprofessional. If you can't make an appointment, you should at least tell the person, hey, I couldn't make it, right? Now, when we think about life and we think about time, time is very precious, right? The minutes and the seconds of your life are so very precious. Don't waste them. Use them to manifest the desires that are brewing in your heart, and use your heart and your brain to connect together so you have heart brain energy, and so that you vibrate in a certain resonance and thus attract what it is you want. What else takes time? Well, it might take time to commute. It takes time. Joe, we got to block these people again. Thank you so much. We're definitely going to block them. Looks like we've got these people here again trying to put their X-rated content, but we have blocked them from the system. They are just really, really terrible that they actually do this. And I've come to the conclusion that they've got to be bots. They've got to be bots because they're doing all this stuff, and they're coming back from different IP addresses. And I just have to say to these people doing this, and I'm not meaning to be rude, but I'm just going to be honest with all this content. Is your life that meaningless that you actually have to come and try to crash a very viable podcast or show? Does your life not have any meaning, or do you not have any respect of what other people are doing? Or is life always about you? And I got news for you. Some people may want X-rated content, but there's probably a time and place for it. And that time and place is not here on the Inspirations for You show. Time. We think about sports. There's a timeout, right? In football, there's a timeout. When they start the game, right? There's that clock. You know what I'm talking about? Right? That clock in football. And so what is that? Well, that's a clock that starts, and they all have to be in position. Right? And if they're not in position, then they get a penalty. Pretty easy, right? There's also time that we need to understand and respect. Certain things in our world will disappear in time. Ice cream will melt if we don't eat it in time. And our food will get cold if we don't eat it in time. Does that mean we have to rush? No, but that's not the time to go read a 17 million page dissertation and then have your meal. When you go out for dinner and it's cocktail time, you need to enjoy the cocktail time or the hors d'oeuvre time, and then move on to dinner time, and then to dessert time. You want to take everything in strides. People that push everything all together are deeply disappointed because they're all over the map. If I had to ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen, what is something in your life that you think is so important when you talk about time in regard to that? I have to say that one of the best times of my life is when I'm here on camera sharing how to become a better version of yourself and everyone else to do the same. You know, when you go to a store, you might have to wait on a line, and that's time, right? When you go to a restaurant, there's time to cook your food, because if you don't wait, you're not going to get your food. We talked about cooking the other day, but I'm talking more in terms of process time. When you go for an interview, you have to give time to get there. You have to give time to listen more than you speak. Time. There's time to volunteer. There's time to listen, time to cry, time to play, time to work, time to investigate. There's time for lots of things. But one of the biggest moments of time, it's time to go on vacation, is the time that you get in your life. Do you manage those units properly? Or do you just sort of throw them together and hope things are going to happen? Because I'm not saying every moment of your life has to be planned, but what I am saying is that you need to know how time is laid out in your day. If you do, then you can have a greater understanding of how to manage and use time for the best ability of yourself and others. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know my slogan, which is believe and achieve. For when we believe, it's only then that we'll achieve. Please go ahead, like, love, support my video. Definitely comment below. What is it time for you to start doing? You know what it might be time for? It might be time for you to call your mom, call your father, call your brother, call your cousin, or call that long lost friend. Isn't it time maybe to forgive? It's time to say I'm sorry. It's time to start telling the truth. It's time to start standing up and living a life with passion that you've been yearning your entire life. Tag some of your friends, colleagues, and associates, and then share it out with everyone you know here on social media. Then be sure to go over to my YouTube channel, John Space, C Space, M-O-R-L-E-Y, Space Serial Entrepreneur. Look for the key phrase, help keep our content free. And below that, make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to buy my team and I a cup of coffee. We'll be so grateful with the pennies and dollars we receive. We'll invest into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, and even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, inspirational, motivational, get off your butt content to allow you to take action, to live a life full of passion, to bring the dreams of your mind to the reality of life. I hope that you guys have a great Friday or Friday night. I'll be back tomorrow with another series, and that'll be episode 1. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure to be with you on the Inspirations for You, a show which airs daily every single day. And of course, if you have an idea for a show or content, let me know. Or if you'd like to be a guest, reach out to me. We'd be happy to possibly make that happen. We just want to make sure that you are going to be a great fit for the show. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I got to say those words. You know what they are. It's only bye for now, but I will see you guys tomorrow.